Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Emma and today I've got a video of my finished pages for you for last month. Super sorry it's in the middle of the month and a little bit late, but I'm getting there and there's a few hits and a few misses in here, so we'll go through and have a look and see what I got up to last month. Let's start off with The Curse of the Vampire Robot by Graham Base. So I did this page here and I'm super in love with this page. I'm happy with this one. I love all the fluoro colors. I love using fluoro. So if I can get a fluoro on a page, I'm happy. So I chucked everything that I could at this one. And I thought it was a super cute picture and I have been looking at it for a while to get it done. So what I did was I started off by basing the whole page with my chromatic water-based markers. So if you don't know what they are watercolor markers. So basically you put it on and then wash it out with some water. They worked really well on this paper. It's quite smooth, so that's why it worked well on this. I have found that it works a lot better on a really smooth surface. And I've got some really pretty colors in there as well. And then I just went over the top with my Prismacolors just to give it a little bit of depth. And then also my gel pens just to go around the lines. I just think it's a super cute picture. I tried to get a little bit of glow from the screens and add a little bit of silver in here as well to make it a little bit more metallic. But I'm really happy with how that one turned out. And I love this book. I can't wait to do more in this book. I also did a page in Tanglewood. And I'm not 100% sure if I like this page, but I'll show you what I took my inspiration from before I show you this page. So a long time ago, I did a collage in this journal. This is quite an old journal. I've had it for a while. So about 4 years ago, I did a collage in this journal and I've always liked it. And when I was doing this page in Tanglewood, it reminded me a little bit of this collage when I was thinking about what to do. So I'll show you the collage that I am talking about. So it's just this collage here, and I liked the way that I had all these cords coming from someone's head and going, so these cords are coming from all these wires and going to all these chickens' heads. So trying to tell them what to do, control them. So I liked that idea. So I decided to pop it in here. So in these Tanglewood books, I will put a picture up on the screen so you can see what I'm talking about. But in these Tanglewood books, they have a lot of space that's empty. So for example, I'll find another one. So like this. So there'll be the picture on some of the page and then they have a big empty space. I actually think that is because this actual book is an A4 book, but they've made it down smaller and made it into a square size. So then when they've changed the pictures over, they don't always fit correctly. So I think that's the problem, but I don't mind it because I like doing collage and I find it's a little bit of a challenge to fill that space up. So going off that page that I did on the other thing, I thought it'd be a really nice idea to do the little cords. So the story I made for this is that this here is this beautiful little gingerbread house that brings people in, and inside the gingerbread house, this is what's happening. So this man, he is doing all this electrical stuff here and he wants to turn all the owls into his zombies. So he's got cords or wires that are going to every owl and they are turning it into zombies they've got the crosses in their eyes. So just something different. And this little fella here with a hat on, he works for him. So he's not a zombie. He works for him. They've both got the same hats on. But they're turning all these other owls here into zombies. So just something a little bit fun. Sometimes I get a little bit bored and I want to do something a little bit wacky. So that's what I did in that. So I'm not 100% sure about it, but I think it's cool. And then with my colouring, I based mostly everything with Artex markers, with the brush tip ones, and then went over the top with some pencil, also with some gel pens. And when I was looking and I was trying to figure out what to do, I did come across this picture in my books, and I thought to myself, that is just something really strange, and it fitted in that space. And then that other collage that I'd done years ago popped into my head, and I thought that's a good idea to do that. But I'll just show you quickly the books I got these images from. So I know sometimes people are interested in that. Just a quick one. So I got these birds here from this book, which is Birds of Australia Field Guide. And this is amazing. You've got so many birds in here that you can use. The only one annoying thing about this is they're all looking to the left, which drives me nuts because I don't want all my birds on my page looking to my left. Luckily, the owls were looking forward, but most of them are looking to the left. But that's a really good book for collage. Also, a really good reference book to if you're doing drawing or illustrating. And then I got these cool little hats from this book here, Australia in the Good Old Days. So this is quite an old book, and the paper is very flat. There's absolutely no gloss on it, which works really well when you're trying to integrate it with your collage page. And it's just full of lots of old gadgets, lots of stuff to cut out. So that's where I got those hats from there. And then the last book was just the Young Children's Encyclopedia. So I find these really good. They're full of lots of different strange illustrations, all in a different style usually as well, which is great. And that is what I got this one from. But it wasn't this actual version. I think it was a different book, but it was a Young Children's Encyclopedia that I did get it from. So they're the kind of books that I get my collaging stuff from. And a bit later in the video, I might actually show you the rest of that journal that I showed you before. I've got a page in Magical World by Erik Barret. I've shown a couple of pages in here, and I have had quite a few people ask me about this book, and unfortunately it is out of print. So I did this page here. So I started off by basing this whole page with my Artex acrylic brush markers. At the moment, I'm loving them. I'm using them for everything. So the background was all done in those markers, and it was all done in one color. And then to get this gradient, what I did was I grabbed my pastel pencils and just went across and smudged it in down here a little bit and up the top here a little bit as well, just to give it a little bit of gradient so it wasn't all quite boring. And then everything else on here is based with those Chromatech markers, watercolor markers that I showed you earlier on. And I love the way the apples turned out. I think the colors blended really, really well. And I was really surprised that they worked so well on this paper, but they did a great job. And then just some gel pen here, just for a little bit of glitter and just to cover up the lines. And then if you're wondering what these two big things are here, there were pictures of fish underneath, but I didn't like them. I didn't want to use them. So I was trying to figure out a way to cover them up. So that's the only way I could think of. And in the end, I actually think it looks quite cool and gives it like a little bit of a funky look, because before it was a little bit bland. I also did a picture in Mischievous Mind. So I did this one here. So this is a coffee spill picture. And the way I did this was I actually did rip the picture out, because otherwise I would have got coffee all over my book, and I'm not loving that. So I just brewed some coffee up. I tipped it over the page, dabbed it off, and then you are left with this beautiful splatter mark. And the way you do it is you just colour in the splatter. So first of all, I went around it all with a black pen, and then I just coloured in where the splatter was. And it's really fun, a really different way to colour, and I just think it works really well on this picture as well with this monkey. I coloured it in with the Artex brush tip markers again, and then just use my gel pen for all the fine little details. But I absolutely love this page. It is super cute, and I did make a video on this one. So I will link it in the description, and then I also might put it on one of the end cards, so you can just click on that and it will take you straight through, and you can see how I did it from start to finish. I did a page in Pihla by Annie Valquist. So once again, I started with a base of Artex acrylic markers. I'm finding them super relaxing to use. I just find you can fill a whole space and they just flow really nicely, and I am really enjoying using them. So at the moment, they are my favorite thing to use. And then I went over the top of those markers with pencil just to add a little bit of depth in certain parts. I also went in with an gel pen just to cover up some of the black lines. So this was super easy. I didn't use heaps of different supplies. I just stuck with a few, and I just really enjoyed doing this page here. And I love how down here my little trees and my waterfall turned out. But I really like this book. It's just a super cute book. It has so many different really cute pictures and things that you can really experiment with different colorways and just have a bit of fun. I love this page. Might be doing that one next. But yeah, I'm happy with that. I think it turned out pretty cute. I also did a double page spread in the epic world of Tolkien. Now, this is the one that I really am not super keen on. So I really just wanted to colour with pencil because I feel like I've been using so many different supplies lately. It's just nice to get down to basics and just use your pencil. So I did use Inktense just to base most of it, but then I just went in with pencil. So the only thing I used on here is Inktense, pencil, I think it's mostly Prismacolor, and then gel pens just to cover a bit of the lines up. I do find because you're not using other supplies, sometimes I feel like it looks quite flat, and I probably could have bought other supplies in, but I'm at that point now where I'm done with this page because it's taken forever, and it's really frustrating when you're trying to achieve something and you just can't get it to work. So what I was really trying to do is I was trying to achieve a look that it was, this is the front of the cave, and as you walk in, it gets darker. So you're looking in from here and it's quite light, and then it goes back and it gets darker and darker. I achieved it a little bit, but not as dramatic as I wanted it to look. But I mean, I'm learning stuff all the time, and I'm learning little tips and tricks on how to do stuff. So hopefully next time I try and do that, it will be a little bit better. But I really love this page and I wanted to give it a go. And although it was fun and a struggle, it was a mix between fun and a struggle, I'm not great at double page spreads because I do get a little bit bored of doing the same thing, especially when it's just trees and leaves. But I did enjoy trying to make it look like it was getting further into darkness. So this is 1,000 Caves, and I am not a Tolkien fan. I love this book and the artwork, but I don't really read the books. I haven't watched most of the movies. So I'm not sure what this is. So it's probably not what it's supposed to look like in the movie or in the book, but I just looked at the picture and went with this. Also have Shooting Star by Maria Trolle. This is another Artex marker page. And this actually, how I did this one from start to finish is actually on the same video as the coffee splash picture of the monkey. So if you go and look at that one, this one will be on there as well. So basically I was just mucking around with the markers and wanted to do a little bit something a little bit different. So I decided to do a little bit of mark making. So I used, everything I used on here is the Artex markers. I didn't use anything else at all. So I just wanted an image that was quite simple so I could muck around with making lots of different marks and just really testing out how the Artex markers work and how opaque they are. So this was one of the first things I coloured in with the Artex markers, and I really enjoyed it. While I've got you guys, I'll also show you the rest of this journal. So there's only a couple of things that I've done in here. I've started a new journal this year, and I'll show you a couple of pages that I've done in that. But I really do like this book, but for some reason I stopped using it and I don't know why. So it was just a journal where I could do all different stuff in it. The paper is it's like cardboard, so it's really great. But this first page here was just a collage. And I had a bit of an idea that this was the queen and she was a black cat and she wanted all the cats that were hanging up here to be painted black. So this little man here, I got him climbing up here and I made it look like he is painting this little cat's head here black. And then everything else is just a little bits and bobs. I kind of made this front door, I pasted this house on there and then made this front door look like this is the front door to that house. And then just had some characters, but they're interacting a little bit, like a little mouse on here. And the rabbity cat is just leaning up against here and the mouse is teasing him a little bit because he usually chases him around. So there's a little doorway in here as well. This is where the mouse and these little cats live. So yeah, that's that one there. And I just popped these flowers on here. I really like these flowers. So these flowers were actually all this colour here, just the plain, and I coloured in these brighter ones here. And then this was just me mucking around with mark making and using my fluid acrylics, which I love using, and I haven't used them for ages. They don't really work in colouring books because they do need quite a heavy base, but I really do enjoy using acrylics. And I love doing mark making, and this was just really a freeing, fun activity that I did. I think I did this over about 7 different sittings, just like layering it up on top of each other, and I really, really enjoyed it. And then this is this collage that I showed you before. So it's just that craziness. And then I did a little bit of mark making on top. And then this is the weirdest thing, but for some reason I love it. So I popped a little fox here and then his little tail here. So it doesn't really make sense, but for some reason I love that. And I've got this eagle here and he's holding like a fake arm, and that fake arm is holding all these wires that are going through the cat's ears and then going into his head. So super cool. I really do like this. It's probably one of my favouriteest collages that I've ever done. And then this is just a base that I haven't finished yet. And then this crazy collage here, not a super fan of it, but I was just playing. So these bowling guys, and then this little fella here is hiding behind some alcohol. There's some frogs in here. Oh, and then that's just a base. That's just a gesso base for when I want to colour in there next. But that's all I've done in that one there. But I need to get back to that because I really enjoy using that. For some reason, I feel that that's a very free journal that I can just do whatever I like and it doesn't matter how ugly it turns out. And then I've got this little journal here. And this journal is my new journal. I've got quite a few new journals. I really want to try and start colouring and drawing again. That's not in my colouring books. I enjoy colouring my colouring books, don't get me wrong, but sometimes I need to do something else as well. So I used to do a lot of collaging. I don't do that as much anymore, but I do have a collage journal that I want to start working in as well. But I just want to start doing a little bit of drawing. When I was younger, I used to draw a lot and I seem to have lost the skills of drawing and I really enjoy it. And I think I've just got a couple of journals, so I'm just going to practice in them and see how I go. So I'll show you some things I've done so far. Nothing is super special. So I've just done this here. I was just mucking around with positive and negative space and black and white. And I'm thinking of maybe putting a bit of colour in here, maybe putting a bit of a fluoro in here somewhere. But that's just the start of it. And I'm not a super fan, but I'm just, at the moment, just learning. I've also got this picture here. I just use acrylic marker and just a little bit of pencil. But I got the idea from this birthday card that I got off my husband, which is super cute with the golden retriever with the banana on his head. So I got that idea, but I didn't know how to draw a golden retriever. So I did look on Pinterest and got a couple of ideas of how to draw a golden retriever. So this golden retriever here is taken off someone else's artwork. So it's not mine, but then I just plopped some bananas on its head because I thought it was super cute. I really loved that photo. And I think it's just like a great thing to remember this card by as well. And then I just was mucking around here with a bit of pencil and just made these little things coming out of this bottle. I also did this page here. Really with this, I was just mucking around with my watercolors and I wanted to see how I could just make a little pattern. And then after that, I wanted to put something on top of it. I think I might add something else to the side here as well. And then also just mucking around with a little watercolor here as well. And just a little bit of mark making and a cute little dog. Also did this little weird fella here. I'm going to put up on screen, if I can, what my initial inspiration came from, because it was just an AI picture of this man sitting down reading a magazine, if I remember rightly. And then I decided to make him into like an aqua man with a light coming out of his head and all the octopus arms and his flippers. So it's weird that all this came from, hopefully I can find it still on my phone and I'll pop it up, but it came from this picture of this old fella just sitting down reading a book or something. I can't even remember, but yeah, I'll find it for you. But I actually quite like this page. I think it worked out all right. It's a bit different, a bit quirky. I just was in a mood to do something completely different. And once again, Artex acrylic markers and also just pencil for that one. So that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for watching, and hopefully next month I'll have a couple more than that for you to look at, but I'm not sure because things are going very slow around here. But thank you very much. Happy colouring, and I will talk to you guys soon. Okay, bye.